All right, so I had some people ask on our Discord about how I get my prompts. So what I did is I've got ChatGPT up. That's who I use. And I know a lot of people don't like AI when regards to art. My reason for this is because a couple of reasons. ChatGPT can give me rules as far as palette size, not palette size, but canvas size to kind of mix it up. And it also is a way for me to get prompts without me. Hey guys, how's it going? It has. I hope you guys are gonna practice with me today. But yeah, it's a way to get prompts quickly without, you know, me influencing what I'm drawing with my bias, and then also adding in the added complexity of specific canvas sizes. You know, so Calypso and I, we make games for the GBA, and you know, try to stick with the retro vibe. So a lot of those are smaller sprites, and this is a way to kind of do that. So what I did is I trained ChatGPT to give me a prompt, and then and it will tell me what size the canvas should be, what the subject is. Now it's still not great, it's not perfect, but so I also have the ability to tell it, no, I pass on that prompt, because it often like repeats the same things or give me something very similar. And then when I find something, it then gives me a DALL-E image of like cartoon vector art. And this, the idea of this is just to save me time and you know, also kind of push me a little bit. So I just tell it, give me a prompt. Come on, but ChatGPT's been having issues today. Oh. I should not do it. Let's try. Refreshing. Yeah, I switched to vertical. I found it was easier, like it was better to help people find us. ChatGPT is not gonna be my friend today. Here we go. I think once we get to a certain number of followers, if we have a certain amount of people, I may switch to horizontal again, at least for the dev portion of it, because it's easier to see. It just depends on what people are looking at. Here we go. All right, and this is one I haven't done. So if I like it, it's 64 by 64, which is not, it's hard for me. The bigger you get, the harder it is for me. I know, I agree. Hi, Andrea. Thanks for joining us. So I figure once we get to like a group going, then I'll switch to horizontal. I don't know, we'll see how it goes. YouTube, the algorithm is very pushy, I would say, pushy for sure. So if I like it, if I like this prompt, a flamboyant bard with a feathered hat, which I haven't done yet, then I say I accept. And then it gives me an image. Very slow today. And I think I'm gonna go with, I like the one on the left, I think. I may be able to pull off a mustache with 64 by 64. Yeah, as far as like switching to horizontal, I also do, I stream, like when I just started doing this when we're working on games. I mean, I think they recommend it just because they want to have access. I don't know. I have no idea why they recommend it. I guess that, like you said, they're trying to be TikTok. Who knows? Yeah. So when I find what I like, I save it. And then I put it up for everybody else. Got a little bard here. I can get rid of my little ChatGPT. Let's get A Sprite sorted out. And whenever I do my canvas and A Sprite, I usually do 10 times whatever the palette is, just because. I think I'm gonna start changing up when I do smaller sprites, especially 8x8s. I think I'm gonna start challenging myself to do backgrounds, because that's also, like, building worlds is kind of a weak area of mine as well. I'm doing okay on, like, sprites, but, like, characters. But, and then I change also the grid. I want it to be 64 by 64. Right, that's what our sprite is, right? Right? Yeah. And then I change the background. Wait, cancel preferences. That's where it's at. Background to be half of whatever I have, so 64 by 64 would be 37? No, 32. And the benefit of this is that now I can see quadrants, like, you know, what's halfway, where the middle is, and things like that. So, once we have it, I select my palette. I'm a big fan of AAP64. It's, this guy, this artist, makes great palettes. If you're like, get on Low Sprite, look up his palettes. He builds these amazing reference sheets on how to use the colors, and it's so helpful. Like, that alone saved my tail in when we did Inky and the Alien Aquarium. Like, to the point we listed him in the credits. I reached out to him because I was like, I don't understand how colors go together. The only way for me to know is, like, stick them next to each other and then look at it. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, okay, well, if this is this, then I should do this. And when I try to do my own palette, it just never worked. I've watched a gazillion videos, and it's still, colors still have not clicked to me. Yeah. So, I think we're all set up there. Okay. One other thing. I was gonna make this a little bit smaller so you can see the side. Oh, that's fine. And then let me get the preview too. And the preview is always helpful to kind of help you think more clearly. All right, so those are all the things. And now we just get started. I'll start the timer. Okay. I usually just choose a random color. All right, let's look at this bard. I need to actually pull him up. I don't have him where I can see him. big old hat. How do I manage my time? Poorly. That's how I manage my time. No. Part of what helps is, so my husband and I, we do the games together, and I work full-time on the business. GBA games aren't all what we do. We also do puzzle games as well, like analog physical puzzles. So that helps the fact that my responsibility is doing stuff like this. I don't like the fact I can't see his foot. Make that come out more from his hip. But this is actually helping me manage my time. That's why I've been doing timed practices, because I can spend hours on details, lose time, and then not get anything done, or not get all the things that I wanted to get done. But if you're curious, we're gonna be, yeah, I mean, the idea is, and this is just teaching me, one, how long does it take to do things? And then it also helps me learn, like, this is good enough for now. I'm gonna use a circle for that. So we did a game jam together last, oh, well, that's not gonna work because I can't tilt it. Kind of, maybe. Let's see, the hat's gonna be like this big. So we did GB Jam last year together, and that was actually our first game jam. I had done others, but kind of just like not 100% helping some friends doing art, but it was a little bit different, and they used different tools than Calypso. His name is Sean, by the way, so if I say Sean, that's who I mean. It's the same guy, and I say Calypso because you see him on our, that way you know you're talking about from our Discord. But and he can get a lot, he's a really good developer, really good. And so anyway, I slowed us down on the last one because I couldn't make decisions, and I spent too long on things I shouldn't have, and so that's how this whole idea of timed things came about. And what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna do the same game jam this year. It'll be GB Jam 12. And I'm gonna be streaming all my art and stuff. I might be able to get the cape. I'm really worried about the visibility, like how the loot's gonna read, but. I tried to record everything last year for our game jam, but I messed up the recordings, so it wasn't all there. But there's a few of our videos showing what we're doing. So you mean the cards? How'd we get the cards? Ha! It is a controversial subject. So we used carts from Alibaba, and the reason for that was, one, this was our first game. What is going on? Oh, it's because of that. This was our first game, and we were actually making it during the pandemic, and knew we were going to do a Kickstarter for it. And you know, we had done one Kickstarter before. It was very small, you know, small goal just to kind of get the just like learn the ropes. And so we knew that we were going to do a ton of cards, and we also wanted to fund everything up front. So we wanted our game to be done. So whenever the Kickstarter was done, we'd be shipping out games. Like, we didn't want people to wait months or years for our game. And real quick, I'm gonna pause right here. So what I'm looking at now is just kind of like, does this read as a person? Does this look right? Oh, crap. And this is a tip I got from watching videos by Adam C. Eunice. And the idea is that pixel art can sometimes be difficult to read if you put too much together. You know, the pixels overlap too much. I feel like a booty now. And so if you can see the outline and it reads like what you want it to read like without even putting anything in, then you know you're kind of getting there. So like right now, this cape kind of looks like a tail, but we'll see. Yeah, I may leave that off for now. So anyway, back to the cards. So we wanted our game to be done and we wanted to be able to ship out. So we decided that we were going to do a limited amount of cards, only 200, and we wanted to have the cards ahead of time because we were afraid, because we'd seen other Kickstarters where people had purchased the carts from people who are producing carts, because there's some great companies like Inside Gadgets making carts. And I don't know if Inside Gadgets ever had any of this issue, so don't, that's not what I'm saying at all, but we did see other developers who had the issue of their carts not being ready, and then people were waiting. So our idea was, we'll order them from Alibaba, we'll sort through the carts, make sure, test them, make sure they all work. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, don't use Alibaba carts, they're crap, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what, they are crap. We lost a lot of time going through and sifting through the carts for bogus carts, or because these are bootleg carts, the ones you buy from Alibaba. The bonus to that is that you can overwrite them. The downside is a lot of them are crap and they don't work, or they have bugs here and there. And we probably had to throw away a good 20% just because they didn't work at all. They weren't functional. Then we had to, another thing that we had to do was, Sean ended up having to write 4 different versions of code to make these carts work, because, and that's like a technical thing that you'll have to ask him about, like the details. So it was a lot of work. And we figured in the end, we didn't save any money. It probably cost us the same if we had purchased the carts from someone like Inside Gadgets, which is funny too. Inside Gadgets 2 had reached out to us after we had already started our Kickstarter and said, hey, were you getting your carts? And we, you know, told them, and they said, well, oh yeah, well, you could get ours. The other reason why we didn't go with Inside Gadgets is that they're expensive they were expensive for someone making a game. Like, you know, spending $30 a cart is not really, and their carts vary in price or whatever. You know, when you're making 200 games, we didn't have the money to pay that out front. Anyway, we found out later that they had like wholesale options and things like that. So we'll be going with Inside Gadgets for any future games, just because we decided that, you know, these cards definitely were not worth it. Yeah, so we have another person that we've helped. We've sent them some emails with like the technical details and stuff like that of how we do this. 64 by 64 is the sprite size. I think I'm gonna bring that hat down right there too, to kind of fix that. But if you look at Inside Gadgets, if you're looking to make your cart, no problem. Like make your own game and you're just gonna do a few and stuff like that. Yeah, you can, or just transfer your games to a cart. Inside Gadgets are great. We use other stuff from them. But it'll probably be a little bit before we, that's a weird looking mustache, do another game, just because, you know, like I said, right now, you really wanted to send a physical copy of that fan game to the original world. Oh yeah, if you were just gonna do one, yeah, like totally go through Inside Gadgets. They're making the cards themselves. And they're reliable and stuff like that, you know, and they're readable, writable and stuff. So check them out. Yeah, one thing we haven't decided too is that, you know, if we do another one, we'll probably do an even limited number of carts. And then those will just be like first come, first serve. And if we have, so we'll do another Kickstarter, but we'll want to have our games done. This is a weird looking mustache. We'll want to have our games done again before, I don't know how I feel about that mustache. By the time we launch, like we don't want people waiting for our game. And so because of that, we'll want to have the carts ahead of time because stuff can happen, chip shortages can happen, and there's nothing, you know. But Inside Gadget, I don't know how much they have to get from overseas because they do solder everything, I think, themselves. But anyway, let's get some eyeballs in here. We'll still try probably buy them ahead of time. We figure we'll probably sell as many carts as we did last time. So that too will still be, you know, and then if we have requests, if we exceed that, maybe those will be, those people will have to wait, you know, but we'll see. This is a long way off. You know, we got to wait until, we're trying to figure out a way to fund our business. So Sean doesn't have to, or one of us doesn't have to work a full-time job. Because, well, Sean really, because he can't code all day and then code all night. He just doesn't have, you know, we're not young anymore. We're not old, but we're not young, and we get tired. So we're actually, we're expanding the physical component of our business, and we're gonna try to see if we can't do it that way. Yeah, and if you ever get stuck or anything like that, just reach out to us. Jackie, have you joined our Discord? Or does your name just... Oh, yeah, okay. But yeah, reach out to Calypso, ask him questions. We're more than happy to help anybody. Like, part of the reason we do this is that we want to encourage other people to make games for these old systems, you know? It's more feasible as well. Yeah, absolutely. These are big square eyeballs. I struggle with 64 by 64 so much. I know they got a squinted eye, but... Oh, yeah! My brain has holes in it. That's the only way to describe it. And like, I have to see like, I don't know, that's how my brain works. It sucks, you'll see. I'll use the wrong words, like a plugin, I think there's a word for it. but often I use a wrong word for what is actually, meant to. My brain just pulls the wrong thing out. I'm gonna change one of these to squinting later. I'm shy on Discords and a lot of places just in general online. I'm just shy. That's the only way to put it. Like, I feel like unless I'm an expert in something, I don't want to say anything, which is in a way, like, that's not a way to go about things, and especially not a way to learn things, and it's not how I would expect anyone else to behave. I wouldn't expect everyone else to think that way. Just, overcoming own things. So I'm trying to get better at it. Honestly, you guys, like pixel art, like you all talking in the art channel, it helps me because then I feel like, oh, I can talk about this. I wouldn't say I'm an expert at all. I would say I'm like intermediate. I may change that after I see how this guy looks, but I feel like all of this needs to be moved over. The eyes are really close together. It's just a shell. Bear doesn't really have the look I want, but I need to keep moving. Moving on this hat. Kind of has more of a rounded top. It was a response to what you said. I believe our physical bodies are nothing but shells, and that our external appearance means absolutely nothing. We have no control over like what we look like, or very little. What's on the inside is what matters. 100%, I firmly believe that. As far as time management and like trying to make things, again, this is everything I'm repeating is just from what, Calypso Sean has said. He's been coding games since he was a kid. So he learned to code from books because we are pre-internet age. And his response is always build something as the smallest thing you can possibly build, and then build on that. And he keeps on trying to get me to learn to code. I tried once to sit down with him and learn, but I got a little frustrated. I'll do green. They kind of come from under the hat. So I have this idea, if I ever start to learn, yeah, I'm gonna keep the conversation to pixel art and game development, if you don't mind. So my plan anyway, if I ever do learn to code or ever try to, is I want to build a Pong game. Just start with a Pong game that's simple, and then build from there. What can I turn the Pong, after I get the basic of that, all right, and then what's the next step, and what's the next step? And I'm trying to take that same kind of mentality with my art. Like get the basic outlines of things, and then add detail, add detail, add detail. This person may only have 2 feathers, honestly. I'm thinking, like... Yeah, Sean does it all. I'm trying to remember. He did, Inky and Alien Aquarium was done in assembly, ARM assembly, which was like a child, like he didn't know how to code in assembly at the time and he wanted to learn. You have to look. I forgot what he did in, Over the Moon in. Hey, Sean, what'd you code Over the Moon in? What did you code Over the Moon in? He did Over the Moon in JavaScript. Do you ever use C++? Do you have any tips on how to get learn the syntax or get used to the syntax?
Is it the first language?
Can you hear him, Jackie? I got him here to answer dev questions.
I could never get used to the C++ syntax though. Way too weird. Yeah, a lot of languages use a similar syntax to C++. So C, JavaScript, Java, C#, they all kind of have those curly braces, and after you learn a couple programming languages, they all kind of blur together because most of them have the same basic syntax, basic format, but there are little nuances and little differences. I would, if you don't like C++, pick a different language. Python is really popular. I would go with that. I like JavaScript, but that syntax is also very similar to C++.
Jackie also had questions on time management, as far as like, game dev and stuff like that.
Well, my recommendation for time management, especially for game jams, well, game jams will teach you a lot about time management, but I think what it's taught me is Get something playable as soon as possible. Don't sit around and go, let me make the perfect physics engine. Let me make the perfect texture loading engine. Let me make the perfect file system manager engine. Blah, 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 blah. You can get really deep on each of those topics. Sound, oh, let me make a perfect sound system. Forget all that. Make something playable as quick as possible, and then iterate on that over and over and over again, and add complexity to that. That would be my recommendation for time management, because then if you get to the point where the game is always fun, then you can basically stop at any point and you have a fun game, or you can spend more time on it and have an even better game. So it's really just a matter of how much more time you want to spend on it, but it's nice knowing that you can stop at any minute. Sorry if I'm out of breath. I just came up from outside, so I'm breathing heavy. I've just been doing yard work. Ooh.
Jackie says, make something playable as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So a vertical slice.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, if you look on our YouTube, like we've got you can actually see what Inky looked like when we first started. Like it was a puzzle game, so all the puzzles and things like that were done first. But if you just looked at it, it was all just a bunch of squares. That's not what we wanted. Hey, Sean, Jackie said thank you. Yeah. He says thank you for visiting. And thanks for, and again, like anytime you get stuck on something, just reach out to us on the Discord. You know, that's what we made it for. Jackie says the weird part about C++ was all the object-oriented stuff, not the syntax related to C.
Yeah, I'm not big on that object-oriented stuff either. It's just personal taste. I personally don't like it either all that much. I like C better than C++, me personally. But yeah, if I'm making a prototype, if I'm making a game, I do web development as a day job, so I'm so used to TypeScript and JavaScript that that's just what I'm used to using. And if you look at like the source code of Over the Moon, if you go to the website and then do a view source, you can actually see the source code. And I don't know if I have any what you would consider like a traditional object. Maybe the camera is like a traditional object, but a lot of it's just like draw the screen. I don't know. I write code that's very like procedural, so it's just a lot of functions that just call each other. And sometimes I use objects here and there, but it's personal taste. If you don't like the C++ stuff, you can code in C++ without using all that object-oriented stuff. I know some shops do that, where they kind of, C++ is kind of like 20 different languages all jammed together. It's sort of like, which variant do you want? I agree. I don't like the object stuff. I don't like the standard shared pointer, this and that. That stuff just makes my head hurt, and I don't really see the point in it. But C is good. I like C.
We'll welcome it. Jackie says you're gonna get a lot of DMs on Discord.
That's cool.
If you don't mind, Jackie, don't make it. Well, put them in like the channels. We could even make a programming. I think there is a programming channel. That way, it's like a reference for other people too later on. You know, like I said, like, you know, one thing I can say about learning, anytime you think you're the only person with a question, if you're thinking it in your head, there's somebody else thinking it too. All right, let's get some clothes in here. Actually, can I get strings on this loot? Yeah, I got the loot on by itself. Good. I know, right? I'm like, this is gonna be... this is gonna be an interesting one by the time it's done. If he's gonna be, I think he's only gonna have 2 strings because I don't think I can make 3 strings look good. I mean, really, it should be... I may have to actually add a new line for these and then line the strings up because I really feel like the strings should be, you know, kind of like this. Like in a straight line. But you know, you don't have to have the strings. Like, that's the cool thing about pixel art. I mean, it's just the idea, you know, a hint. We reference, you know, not reference, but we, the person's brain and, or the viewer's brain and the viewer's imagination fills in the blanks. Especially when you're working with smaller elements or smaller sprites. I don't know, I kind of like it like that. I may just keep it like that. And then this would be the kind of like the shadow bottom part. Yeah, no problem, Jackie. You have an awesome day. Thanks for coming by. And thank you for the questions. We appreciate it. I think this needs to actually be a little bit more out here. Yeah, now we're talking. Oh, okay. I didn't even know that was a thing. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. Actually, I think it should just be like a little, I don't think these should be that big. Ah, this is gonna be a rough one. We may need to start changing colors soon. We gotta get some clothes on this guy. Okay. I think doing striped pants is a mistake, but oh my gosh. Like, I say it's a mistake, and I'm still doing it. I know. I'm in trouble. Uh. These 64 by 64 are hard, man. I still have no shirt. Oh, I have no skin. All right, let's get a shirt on this person. Oh, these boots, these cuffs are actually parts of the boot. That looks less part of the boot now. Oh my gosh. I know, but it's too late to go back now. You're stuck. All right. me just turn all that. How's that color? That's the nose. So we're gonna need to turn the nose. Oh wow. It's kind of like a sideways grin. All right. This color is the peachy color. This color. Well, really, this should be the color. Peachy color be the nose. This whole side should be shadowed. We need hands. Six minutes. You can tell this is. I just noticed now. Look at the fingers. There's only 2 fingers or 3 fingers. Good old ChatGPT. It's actually reversed. I think what I'm actually going to do is ooh. Minutes. Maybe make these feathers look a little bit better. Stumbling. Minute. Nope, that's good. the end. Oof. Yeah, mine doesn't even have fingers on one side. But it is what it is. That's the practice. That's the whole goal. And one of the reasons I do this too, what I'm trying to learn to do is keep something cohesive. Like, the cool thing about pixel art is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, there's games out there that have like really funky art. Yeah, I'm gonna put mine in Discord too. Thank you. For example, Adventures of, yeah, it's not Adventures of Baba. What's it called? Baba Is You. You know, you can make art that looks complete and cohesive, especially, you know, in game. That's what my focus is making game art. You know, you just kind of have to have a vibe and have that go all the way through. And what I would often find is, you know, I would have a really detailed one spot and then another spot less detailed because I'd run out of time. You know, and you could see that in some of our games, like our last game jam, you would see that in the art in and Over the Moon. So you can see some areas there's a lot more detail than others. And what I'm trying to learn myself to do is, you know, create a base layer, just like how Sean was describing with, you know, making a game, making something as small as possible that's fun, and then adding on to it from there. I'm trying to take that same concept to my art. You know, like, first go around, everything is really basic. Next go around, add the same level of details across the board, and next go same, you know, level of details across the board, so that way it's all cohesive. This one is, I'm still laughing at this one. So, for example, you know, I started putting more detail into the face when I still didn't have that level of detail elsewhere. Like, I should have done, you know, two colors in the face and then 2 colors everywhere else, you know, and then the next layer would be 3 colors everywhere else where it's needed. Not like everything needs, you know, 3 colors, but adding 3 layers of depth. So, you know, first everything's the base color, then go through and add shadows, and then go through and add highlights, rather than trying to do shadows, everything in one spot at a time, if that makes sense. Well, Art of Dying, thanks for playing along, and everyone else who came by and stuff. I'm gonna call it for now. I need to work on Aunt Flora's mansion today too, so I may be on later. But this was fun. It's so much more fun doing this with other people playing. So, very cool. And Ardine, I gotta tell you, thank you for getting me back into it, because I kind of fell off because I was focusing on Aunt Flora. But this is important. This is good. This is good for me. Well, awesome. I will talk to you later.